I heard this quote the other day, which was, see if you allow yourself to go 99% in, that 1% is going to be enough to set you off the rails.
Yeah.
But if you go in 100%, especially on something that you really, really want,
If you keep ticking the boxes, you'll get to where you want.
you'll be the one on the starting line.
Yeah, 100%. Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee with the Cassells. This is episode 6. Hopefully you've enjoyed the last one. As always, guys, if you can like, share, subscribe, do all that jazz, it really means a lot to get us out there. And yeah, just hopefully you guys can resonate with what we're talking about, get a wee insight into our world, which will probably resonate with you guys. And yeah, hopefully it makes your day a little bit better.
I know, it was funny because the first ever episode that we launched, you started getting loads of messages and I started getting loads of messages of name suggestions and suggestions of topics, right? And you were like, why is everybody sending me
Yeah.
name ideas?
So yeah, I felt as if it was so random. Everybody was going like, you should call it this, you should call it that. And
My favourite, to be fair, my favourite one was, but did you die?
yeah,
I was like, oh, we missed the
I
track.
missed a bit there.
Maybe we had that as like later on, but that was my
That could be the
favourite one. I
tagline.
loved that.
But yeah, it was really, really strange that we put the first episode up and it was like, my phone was just going mental with all these different like
Suggestions.
names coming in. I'm like, why is everybody saying to me like, do
Super-
that name, you could call it.
And I was like,
I'm
we filmed it so long ago
it's come.
that you'd forgot we talked about that. So it's funny. So it was nice. But we also got some suggestions of topics that people wanted to hear us
We
talk
did,
about.
yeah. So if you do have any suggestions and stuff like that going forward, then please do just like write them in the comments or send them over to us because we do value it. We've got a couple of things coming up that we're going to bring guests etc on to talk about different things, whether that be clients, whether that be like some athletes or like friends, family, etc. But yeah, if you do have any suggestions and ideas, it does mean a lot because we want this to be, as much as it's something for me and Natalie to kind of discuss and chat about and enjoy, it's also nice for us to know that it's potentially something you want to hear about and maybe have questions over that you want us to open up a bit. Like one of the comments we actually had was, it's nice because they're seeing a different side of me, because apparently I'm fucking raging all the time, so I'm quite scary apparently. So yeah,
See that you're in the
you
normal.
dropped all your skittles in there.
Oh no. Oh, well. It's to normalise you.
Me, a big mad wolf.
And
so
just
yeah,
a heads up as well, Callan is in the background. He's currently in what Dean describes as the cage. It's not the cage, it's the creche or the fit nest. And so we can see him, but you might make a bit of noise, and so I might have to pop off and get him if he's needing a wee bit of a hand, but he's all right.
he's alright anyway, just shouting.
And he likes to hit toys together as well, so there might be some banging noises in the background as well. You can now.
Escalated quickly. Fucking hell. Okay.
No more banging. You've got enough kids.
So that can bleed us right into family life, start. Right. You alright, Jane, a minute?
Honestly, still loaded with this, like whatever it is. It's so annoying.
So
Not that I've complained about it. You know.
right, discussions in. So the ones that we wanted to talk about this week. So one of the suggestions we got through was about like people might be interested to hear about how we kind of stay motivated and tips for motivation and stuff. We were obviously going to talk about Barcelona, and we are doing that a week.
We would have done it.
Yeah, we've done it by the time this comes out. So
But yeah.
hopefully we're happy with the result. And then the other thing was the business side of things, like stepping into a more business role.
Different roles.
roles.
In the business. I think it's
And,
really helpful. I think that's the beauty of kind of us. Like we've literally just before we started there, we're talking about how diverse our days and weeks are at the moment. And it's actually quite nice. Like one of my favourite things is doing this podcast. I love it. Not only because it gives us that time to catch up and to ask questions and to be inquisitive and curious about our thoughts or ideas about a certain topic. But it's also a chance for us to like just like chat shit and have a bit like and put the phones away and like have this dedicated time. So I do love doing the podcast. I also love everything that comes with the podcast as well. Like, as you know, we've been talking a lot about our roles in the business. What?
So I think we were going to say like jumping to Morrison's, getting a quaz on before it, because that seems to be a standard thing that's happening. We finish a 9:30 to 10:30 session, we jump up to Morrison's for a couple of quaz-ons, written in pasta, and then we're good to go.
And we shove a couple of chicken thighs and dinner face.
And then that's us good to go.
But yeah, I do enjoy that. And then like obviously we've been talking a lot about what our roles are in the business. So having that diversity of like one day doing the podcast and then seeing all the edits, like it's amazing. I love listening back and like just hearing kind of all the information that we're sharing. And then I love like the social media and the content side of it as well, like promoting it and sharing it to different platforms and trying out new things. So I'm just loving all the diversity that's come just from doing the podcast, but then also, you know, on a Monday we're still doing check-ins with clients,
Yeah,
and we're still connected to what their progress looks like and changing up their plans and hearing about their goals in their life, which is amazing. I've got a couple of online clients doing nutrition and lifestyle coaching, so that brings a whole different element. And then recently I've been out doing a lot of networking.
Yep.
And meeting other business owners and talking about business. And it's the most common thing that I'm starting to hear is that we all have the same problems, even though we work in completely different industries.
Yeah.
And it's so refreshing to know that, you know, the cycle that we're going through as business owners is so natural and normal. Like the trajectory and the challenges and the things that we're facing, like it is pretty consistent across the board with lots of small businesses. But on top of that, what a lot of people are saying to me is that they did that before they had young kids, or they did it after the kids were a little bit older. So having that additional dynamic to the pressures that we have as business owners, but also as a couple and as parents, like all of that is like people are giving me reassurance that it's normal to feel the way that we feel, and also it's normal to, you know, be experiencing the high highs and the low lows, because we are. And then we've got the additional kind of dynamic of you going into full-time athlete. And so that's a whole different kind of ball game. So yeah, it's been really nice talking to other people in business and getting a little bit of reassurance and also a little bit of a pat on the back to say, do you know what, you guys are doing really, really well, considering the circumstances and all the things that you're juggling.
Yeah,
And also,
because we're in it so much in it.
yeah,
It's like us being in it all the time and stuff like that. Sometimes you do switch off.
you can't see the wood through the trees, is that
Yeah,
that saying?
and you're always trying to like obviously progress and grow and keep things going, but you never have that time to actually look back and realise like how far you've come. Like, you know what I mean? We were watching like Apprentice last night in it, and it was like we were just kind of almost that gratitude of like we started this business. Like obviously Cassells Fitness has been a long time, but the studio side of things, we started it like 2 years ago, and like how fast it's all moved and stuff like that is just, it's incredible. But sometimes you never get that chance to sit and look back because you're so focused on the here and now and the future and future proofing the business, etc. And doing things for the clients or doing things for the staff and the coaches, etc. So yeah, sometimes you do switch off to you know how incredible it is.
Yeah, and also what I said to you is people are coming to me for business advice recently, and it just shows you that I think maybe being vulnerable and showcasing, you know, we are facing challenges and we also have faced really significant growth and like massive wins. Like I'm at that point now where I want to be the stability for the business. Like I want to be that person that, you know, is level-headed, that sees all sides. And also I also want to be that person that reassures everybody that every decision that we make along the way, or every kind of point that we're at in the business, we're doing it from the so well intentioned.
Yeah.
Like the decisions are consistently because of the client being the person at the table as well, and also us and our plans and our, you know, ambitions for the future, our ambitions for the team.
Yeah.
And then also like the opportunities that have come up in the fitness space in Scotland, and then more wider than that, UK and worldwide. Like, we are so well positioned in that trajectory at the moment of fitness, wellness, events, all of that kind of, people are excited about being a part of that. So, you know, I feel like we're just at a point where the bubble's just about to like get bigger and change, and and that's, I suppose that's the beauty of working for yourself and being an entrepreneur and being kind of in this very fortunate position where our business is in a position to recruit staff, so that it unlocks us a little bit to have the time to look at other opportunities, but also, yeah, I think grow and develop individually as a business, and also think future and
Yeah,
wider than that as well.
it's exciting. Excitement always comes with risks. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I feel like the pressures and the risks and stuff like that some things business comes with, but that's the exciting part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
I think for you, one of the biggest changes has been from like what your role has been throughout this time.
Yeah.
Like,
It's been for me personally, obviously Cassells Fitness started and it was just a one-to-one company type thing. It was just me, kind of one man band. Like obviously you were helping quite a lot in you've always kind of helped out in the kind of back end of stuff. But in terms of like how Cassells Fitness ran and moved, it was always like it was me and that was it. It was me doing the social media side of things, it was me doing the marketing, it was me doing the programming, it was me taking the sessions. Even when I went to like kind of very, very small group where it was like 2 or 3 people at a time, again it was just me. There was no staff or anything like that. There was no, not there was no business, but there was no like home for it, if that makes sense. So I believe that it's just my mindset and the way I think of things. But for me, Cassells Fitness became a business when we had like a hub, that we had something to be,
yeah.
and kind of develop and stuff like that, like a building. Um, and yeah, so it's been a massive change in the fact that I went from coach, and not just purely coach, but obviously like social media and like very individualized, and kind of almost like a solo venture, to then all of a sudden having this business. Is it that the best way to put it is like a business is bigger than you. Do you know what I mean? Because like back then, Cassells Fitness was Stephen Cassells. That's what it always was going to be. Now Cassells Fitness isn't even. It's not just me. Do you know what I mean? It's not. Yes, it's obviously got Cassells Fitness in it, but I don't see it as just my thing anymore. Like it's always my wee baby and stuff like that. That I've got to where we are, but now we've got obviously yourself on board, we've got Chloe, we've got Dean, we've got Amy, we've got different segments and stuff like that as well. We've obviously got Daniel coming in and helping us with social media and content side of things as well. So it's like the whole change has been massive, to from just coach and working solo to then all of a sudden having even just ideas and opinions from outsources as well, like other people as
And
well.
what would you say would be the biggest like learnings that you've experienced over the past, like, I would say the past like 24 months since we opened Down in Your Head? Like, what has been the biggest, I suppose, challenges for you at being a founder, moving into kind of a totally different role? Then also what have you learned?
I think if I'm being brutally honest, I think the biggest challenge has always been letting go of certain aspects of it and trusting people that they have like the backing and like the same vision and passion as you do. And like obviously we've got a solid team around us and stuff like that, but also like just the standards. Like I always and have always had my standards so high, and it's like, can people that we're bringing in like reach these standards? Is that obtainable for them? Is it like obviously the way I see it is like Cassells Fitness, because it was my name and stuff like that. Like I like value it, like truly value it, and like truly have a passion for it. Is somebody coming into the business going to have that same passion, even though it's not maybe their name in the lights, if that makes sense? Like I know that, like to me, the name above this, it doesn't matter anymore. Like it really doesn't. But from a outsider coming in, do they value it as much as I do? So I think the biggest challenge has been letting go of certain aspects and knowing that the standard's still going to be high and still where I would want it to be if I was just still doing it my own. I think where, like, that would be probably the biggest challenge. I think the biggest learning curve, if you like, or the biggest positive coming out of it. Something that I've probably never considered before was you can only get so far on your own. Like, you literally can. You can only, like, if I was still doing this and now, like, way back in your head when it was just me, even when we first started, sure, I'd have burnt it completely by now. And I don't think Cassells Fitness would be where it is today. I genuinely believe that. I don't think we would have the amount of clients we do. I don't think we'd have the success in terms of actual client success. I don't think we would have the noise and the impact that we make in the industry right now. If it was just me, I genuinely don't believe that. I think the team have got to now carry it forward rather than my old way of thinking, is it going to be one, a stepping stone, or is it two, going to be things that are a wee bit flatter because I'm not there anymore?
Yeah.
So I think,
I think that's a really good insight for you to have and reflect on, because I would completely agree. I think someone that is passionate about building teams and trusting in people having a better skill set than us to be able to do things that we maybe started that we do because we were novices in a lot of areas, but actually bringing people in to elevate it and to put their spin on it and to bring a different perspective and to challenge us.
I'd say, yeah, definitely, I would definitely say that as well. Like, I feel like if you're doing this on your own and flying solo and stuff like that, I think sometimes you get stuck in your own ways too much. And I wouldn't say laziness, but sometimes you take your eye off the ball a little bit. And maybe you're just so stuck in a way that it just, like, you just keep going that same direction, that same path. Whereas if you've got opinions of others, they might say, well, do you know what, actually, here's a better idea or what.
Yeah.
And then that can actually just change the game. So, like, having your idea, but then that wee bit of input can actually just fucking tenfold that. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh,
Like, even if you look at our programming, for example, like, the way I kind of see it is like, I'm so stuck in my ways in terms of programming because I know what works. I know what works for me. I know what works for clients because I've been doing it a long time. I know what breeds success. But at the same time, sometimes I think to myself, am I so stuck in my ways that it's now becoming not boring, but it's like the norm. You know what you're coming into. Whereas, like, having Dean and Chloe's input just changes it a little bit, where they might say, do you know what, actually this will actually make this a little bit better. Like, having almost like I create a template type thing, but them going like that, do you know what, this is actually going to change the game a wee bit. Like, imagine the challenge that the clients are going to go through if they have to hit this way rather than that way because they're used to that way. Like, this is what, you know what I mean? So I think it can only help.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously you had to move into that role of almost like mentorship. Like I say this to people all the time, like people came to Cassells Fitness originally for your coaching.
Yeah.
And I think long term, the ability to be able to mentor and harness um someone else's experience and passion and their what's the word when you're really good at something,
Finesse.
not finesse, but you know what I mean. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Talent.
see, talent, that's the word. Like, if somebody is really talented and then they come in here and to this environment, maybe they're used to doing it on a one-to-one basis, or
Yeah.
maybe they're used to doing it on chuck out all the kit and just see how it goes for a group session.
Mhm.
And then you being able to mentor and say, no, let's consider all the different options or all the different um, styles of different clients or different types of people or different goals. How can we encompass all of that into a group training environment? And how can you coach that really, really well?
Mhm.
And so, like, being able to mentor the team and give them your insights from that, and and also as a leader, being able to say, this is my minimum expectation. Like, there should be nothing less than this,
Yeah.
and being able to communicate that well to still have everyone on board, and to see that unfold and be delivered, like that is massive success as a founder, but also as someone who is in a more leadership role in your business. And then also, like, you've got the other part, which is your role is changing in terms of your focus.
Yeah.
Like, you know, 50, I would say 60%, 70% of your day is focused on training.
Yeah.
And
Training, nutrition,
nutrition and
recovery.
recovery. And then the rest of your time is now focused on the business. And whereas for me, it's completely opposite. Like I'm 70% in the business, 10% on my own endeavors or my own kind of ideas. And then the rest of the time is family life and family, kind of everything else that comes with that. But I think that's been a big challenge for you as well. Trying to almost remember that you had set out a goal to do really well in Hyrox as an athlete. And as a result of that, it comes with compromise and it comes with letting go and trusting in other people to be able to drive something that you have such high expectations for, but you can't control because you are focusing on something else.
Yeah.
That fight in our house, that we discussed that a lot, so that because you cannot keep all the cups full.
No, it's a strange one. Like,
perform really, really well.
yeah, it's a strange one where, like, even recently, like, I've said to Natalie a few times, like, sometimes I feel like a bit lost in the business. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't have a role or a purpose, like, because I don't coach as much anymore, or like, I do certain things, or like, but then you take a lot of the, like, kind of the growth of the business side of things, like, you know what I mean? Like, you take care of that.
The sales inquiries.
Yeah, so sometimes I do feel like I'm like, I started this with everything, like, you know what I mean? Like, all the requirements and stuff, like all the jobs that had to be ticked, I'd done them all, to then all of a sudden being like, shit, like, I don't really do a lot in terms of like the growth of the business or in terms of the service and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's also like, from my point of view, I need to look at it and going, right, what's actually the best for my clients, our clients, do you know what I mean? And the best thing for our clients is they get the service they deserve, and I couldn't deliver that. Like, I couldn't be chasing Hyrox as an athlete, like wanting to be like a full-time athlete, but still putting in the same work that's required for like 150 clients to get them the best results possible. So yeah, it's been something Natalie and I have spoken about a good few times, where, as I said, some days, some weeks, I kind of do feel like I maybe don't have a role in the business as much anymore, or like a purpose in the business. Like, the business would probably run without me quite successfully. But at the same time, that was always a vision. It was always, I didn't want Cassells Fitness to be this thing anymore, where it was just Cassells Fitness is Stephen Cassells. Cassells Fitness is like the team as a whole. And it's bigger than me. That's what I wanted it always to be. I didn't want it to be just me. It was like bigger than Stephen Cassells, a brand. And yeah, I think you've always got to look at what's the best interest of your staff, what's the best interest of your clients. And I think the best interest for them is they get the service that they need. Do you know what I mean? And I couldn't do that alone. There's no chance. Like, the way I'm going now, there's not enough time in the day for me to do everything. Like, it wouldn't, obviously we talked about standards and stuff like that. The standards would completely slip. And that would frustrate me more than anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think, and then from my perspective, like I'm in the background a lot.
yeah,
I don't want to be a PT.
yeah,
I love training and I love the mechanics of training, and I love the coaching aspect. Like, I love coaching.
yeah.
But
Like your nutrition coaching and stuff.
yeah,
I think
and I
it's fun.
also love
That-
coaching people in life and business and just supporting people in whatever way I can and listen.
Yeah.
And I think that I struggle with that all the time, is that, God, if I could just jump into that session, just take the session,
Yeah.
And then be seen doing work for the business.
Yeah.
So we have that constantly, because you're obviously taking that step back in order for you to focus on where you want to focus your time on at the moment. And I also love all the business side of it. But again, I trust the team, and I fully want to develop as a leader. And what that means is listening and, and making the changes that you can for the business, and also being transparent, making difficult decisions, which is hard. And we then have to face that together and talk about all these things as well. So yeah, I think the business side at this point is at like a massive like change, like a massive point, and there's so much going on,
Yeah,
and we're just
there is some moving parts. Like there's moving parts in terms of the service, and then
want to
obviously,
get better and better.
yeah, we want to continuously grow, and you know, even for the staff and the coaches, we always say as well, like if there's anything they want to do as well, we want to encourage them to progress, and if that means like helping them in where we can, like if they want to be an expert in a certain field, then we'll do that. And it's like we just want the best for everybody, whether that be staff, whether that be
And also
clients.
the clients' need is changing as well. Like it's not just fat loss, it is
Lifestyle now.
lifestyle, it is, you know, like hearing their challenges. Like we get everything on this, like that you could possibly think out that life brings to people.
Yeah.
Like we are an integral part of their
Yeah,
life.
it's not like, it's not, the best way to describe it is nobody's like just a number in here. Do you know what I mean? It's like we know the ins and outs of people's lives, and a lot of people share a lot of probably deep and personal information with us. Do you know what I mean? Like we are like a go-to that like people can discuss things with and chat with, and it's really special actually. Like
We're
that
lucky to.
people have that much faith and confidence that they can do that. I
Yeah.
mean, they have so much, like they feel comfortable enough. That's the word I'm using for. Like they feel comfortable enough that allows them to do that. Like with any of the members of staff in here, like they feel as if they can. I mean, some people might not say stuff to me personally, but they might say something to you or Chloe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That maybe resonates, or they feel that you can help them more. And I think that's special as well, that people feel so comfortable in here that it allows them to do that, the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like there's so much more to come as well. And that's
Yeah.
what's quite exciting.
Well, that's the thing. I think the biggest thing, I would say that the biggest beauty of me stepping back slightly, like I know we're obviously saying like a lot of my time is used on Hyrox and stuff like that, but one of the best quotes I've ever heard as well is, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame.
Yeah, yeah.
So where if it was just me continuously trying to push this forward and do everything, then eventually it'll just come to a standstill. Like, it'll just plateau. It'll just be the same thing day in, day out. Do you know what I mean? There's never any, like, nothing, like,
You wouldn't have granted yourself time to look at different styles of training.
yeah, like, I always like
meet
to,
different people.
yeah, I always like to do research and stuff like that. It's just one of my passions. I love education. I love learning new things.
Papa.
He's doing okay. Yeah, so I love learning new things and stuff like that, and I love growth, in all aspects. I love growth in our education, and yeah, I think as well, just like having the different views and different opinions as well. Like if you think, like, see, even like some of the events we've had, like it's all been your ideas and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I love the net.
yeah, like Cassells Fitness Center. You know, your 6-week games, the Women's Day that you always put on, which is always a success. You know, and these wee things that I would probably overlook when it was just me running it. It would just be like personal training. I think me stepping back slightly allows me then that wee bit of freedom and creativity to go, right, well, why don't we take it in this direction, or why don't we take it, do you know what I mean? So I think it makes the whole business side of things more exciting for us, but also makes it more exciting for clients as well, because we're always looking for new things that we can throw out just to challenge or raise excitement, raise motivation and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and I think that moves really nicely on to like the question that we got about motivation, because like exactly that, you can't see kind of the picture if you're sitting in the frame. So motivation gets you so far, and then when you come out of the picture and have a look, come out of the frame and look at the picture, you can then see that all of that little bits of work, whether it was a good day or a bad day, it's all moving towards the goal or the end goal. And
yeah,
if
there's
that
another
motivation
there's another quote that basically says motivation gets you started, consistency gets you the win.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that. Like if you're someone who's looking for motivation, you know, I used to be bad for this, where every time like I would listen to like a motivational quote every day, or I would listen to like I would watch a motivational video on YouTube or whatever, and that can only get you so far. Eventually, like yeah, it'll breed some motivation, but eventually it comes down to the nitty gritty stuff and the consistency over time, because you're not always going to feel motivated. There's going to be weeks where you have a bit of a hard week or a bit of a shitty week, and
Oh man,
can't
been
really be
like that for
bothered.
the
Like
past 2 weeks.
yeah, it happens all the time. But one of the quotes my dad used to say, I used to play football when I was younger, and one of the quotes my dad used to say was, the mark of a champion is someone who, so for example, he would talk about football, the mark of a champion team, or a winning team, would be the team that can go through a slog and then like, but still commit with a win. Like it'd be a really hard game, but still commit with a win. And I've always lived by that. I've always been like, right, even if I have like the worst week ever, where business is getting top is, or life stressful with the kids, do you know what I mean? They're maybe like overtired or whatever. Things are a wee bit heavy, things are stressful. If I can still tick the boxes, yes, it might not be the best week ever, where like I'm not firing all cylinders. Some things don't feel the way they normally feel. I don't feel my best. But if I'm still ticking the boxes, I know that over time the consistency is what's going to matter most. It's not a case of like, you know, oh, this week was 100%. Next week it has to be 100%. The following week it has to be 100%. It never works like that. Like 1 week you're going to be 100%, 1 week you're going to be 60%. But if you can get an average, you know what I mean, over the course of a month, yeah, like if you get the average over the course of a month, you've done everything like 80% as well as you can. It's the consistency over time that's going to win.
It's more than you would have done if you hadn't done anything at all. And I think that's like, there's like two parts to that. I think you could either use that as an excuse sometimes, oh, I can't be bothered, so I'm just not going to bother putting effort in. And that can go over a period of time. And we've seen that with clients actually. They're like, oh, I've not seen any changes in months, or I've not. But usually what that is that like they've just been too complacent. And so it is holding yourself to a certain standard,
Yeah.
but also listening and playing into that feeling of, well, I'm still ticking it off. And then when you're feeling good and you're feeling you can fire on all cylinders. And I think that's the thing. It's also remembering everyone in the room or beside you is all going through something. There's always something going on. And as long as you're that version of yourself that is moving and consistently showing up, that version of yourself is way better than the version that like of before, when you stopped and when you didn't do it at all.
Yeah.
You know, and I think like we've had a couple of clients sign up, and like over the 8 weeks, say the first like few weeks they're full blown like motivation driven, like all
There's
that.
something new and exciting in it.
A couple of weeks after that they're like, whoa, you know, maybe I've bitten off more than I can chew. They probably have, because they probably changed everything.
Yeah.
They started training, they started walking 10,000 steps, they started eating at like, you know, minimum calories, and also they started restricting all the things like their life that they really, really enjoy. Of course you're going to be miserable, and of course that's not sustainable. So it's about, for me, it's about us trialing and testing what is going to be the sweet spot for you in terms of achieving your result, and something that you can do for a long time. And like I said this in the chat a few weeks ago, which is, if you can't see yourself doing this forever, you're over restricting yourself, or you have over expectations for yourself. So like you need to find that sweet spot where, you know, if you're training 7 times a week but you are absolutely the worst person to be around every night, and you are, you know, like turning up and half-arsing sessions, and then you're not on top of your nutrition as much, and then you're tired, and every time you're in a session it's like an absolute, like, you're the worst person to be around, as well as hating life in the session, then my question to you would be like, you can't sustain that forever. So why don't you drop down to 4 sessions and then actually enjoy it and put your best effort in, and then on your rest days enjoy your rest days. You know, it's the same with nutrition. God, the amount of people that come in, they're like, I need a meal plan. How many times have you heard that? I need a meal plan. And then you say, you don't need a meal plan, because if I give you what I eat every day, that's not sustainable, because it's a whole new shopping list that you've never bought before. It's a whole new like cooking structure that you've probably never done before.
Well, we also live in a world where it's like, if you imagine like TikTok and Instagram, people have the attention span so short right now.
So short.
Where if somebody gives you an eating plan, realistically, how many times a day meal's going to change? So you're going to eat the same thing for like how long before it changes? Do you know what I mean? Like a meal plan is set in stone where like you eat this, you eat that, you eat this, you eat that. But how long can you actually sustain that before, say for example, right, you get an eating plan and it tells you exactly what you need to eat, right? But then all of a sudden a social event comes up. Are you going to hit the fuck it button because you've went off plan and you've had a pizza when you were at a party? And then all of a sudden it's like,
Oh, well, because I've
it's
missed
the
that.
mindset, exactly. So
And now going to make
rather than thinking of it like that, clear structure, it's more about like just holding yourself to a standard, but then actually making it more a lifestyle thing, because then it's going to be mentally, it's going to be more easy for you to kind of manage and eat and go around. But I think that's the thing for me. So I look at, when it comes to like motivation and stuff like that, so the question that was asked was like, how do we keep ourselves motivated and stuff like that? I think there's kind of two sides. So I look at it like fitness wise and business wise and stuff like that, right? So if I look at motivation business wise, right, my dream and my passion was always to make Cassells Fitness like a household name in the fitness industry. I always wanted to be this thing that people knew, what Cassells Fitness was all about. Do you know what I mean?
and
They
if they
knew
were
that was a
looking
place to
for
be.
like some sort of dedicated.
So that was always my thing, that it was always like almost like an authority in the industry, and I feel that we've got that. So for my motivation for the business side of things is, I need that standard to still be high, to still have that authority in the industry. Like that can't dip. I think from a training standpoint and stuff, like for a start, so that I would say the motivation, the motivation obviously always starts, right? So if we go back to that, the motivation for me to start was being sick and tired of being like out of shape, like drinking, like eating takeaways quite often, eating shite quite a lot, like just shite. I hate using that term, mate, because there's no good and bad foods, but I wasn't eating anything nutritional value wise. So I was feeling shite about it. I was eating like takeaways all the time. I was drinking. I had no like purpose or drive or passion, really, if I'm honest with you. Like, so that was the motivation. Being fed up, sick and tired of that was the motivation to go, do you know what? Like, let's start being a bit more active. Let's like try and take control. So that was the motivation that started for me. Then what you've got to realise, that the more and more you do that, it then becomes a habit and a way of life, and it just becomes natural. Then what you want to do is you want to then have another goal that will raise that motivation up again. So for me, like my motivation in terms of now is the kids, and family. So I want to be the best dad and husband I can be in terms of family life. And in order for me to do that, I need to first of all do something for me to fill my cup. And second of all, the way I see it now is with the whole Hyrox, now it's like a point, you have to put in the work to get the rewards you want to get. And we sacrificing quite a lot to get to where I want to be. Like time wise and stuff like that, like we're you know, we are sacrificing quite a bit. So it's now come to the point where it's like, right, well, do it, we're all in, or we half-ass it, and what's the point?
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like I need to be right.
You don't want to get to the point of, what was this all for? See if I'd done this.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's, if you've got that you really want to achieve, like that's the start, that's the motivational factor. And then just see from that point, once you've got that locked in, just go all in, because what's the worst that can happen? Like but you need to give it your all, because see if you don't, you will always question it,
I heard that.
and you will always try and like look for motivation. Whereas see when you're just locked in, like right now, I am so locked in and so driven that, see coming in here and training 3 hours back to back or 4 hours back to back, it doesn't faze me, because I'm like, it's what I have to do to get to where I want to be, and it's habit as well. It's habit stacking.
Yeah, I heard this quote the other day, which was, see if you allow yourself to go 99% in, that 1% is going to be enough to set you off the rails.
Yeah.
But if you go in 100%, especially on something that you really, really want, like it's fine in coming in here and saying, I want to look like that, or I want to do this, and it's completely unachievable. Like it is in most circumstances, because it's probably a touched up picture online. But coming in here to say, I want to feel better, I want to be a better, parent, I want to be a better this, that is achievable, and that can be achieved by consistency and long term, like dedication to it. But for goals like that, where you are so determined, for some people, giving yourself that 1%, that's when it all comes, like, unravels. So it's either, for some people, they are all in or they're all out, and they understand why, the purpose for that. They also understand how the pros and cons for it, but they also make the full decision to be 100% on something and usually for a set period of time. So for you, we know you're 100% until Chicago. And then probably you'll be at that 99% between Chicago until the season. And then at that point, it then ramps up again to that 100%. It's not normal to think that you're going to be 100% 365 days a year. But having that commitment, rather than giving yourself the wee 1%, for some people that is enough to unravel all the work that they've done. And then go, exactly what you said, hit the filter button and then go back again. So I do think that in terms of motivation, don't rely on that solely. Use it as fuel.
Use it to get,
fire
that's what I said,
to get you started.
use it to get you started, but don't rely on it, because if you rely on it, like, there's been a lot of times, I'll be honest with you, in the whole prep of me doing Hyrox and stuff like that, I can't be bothered. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be weeks where weeks felt heavy, and I have questioned it a few times, like, what's it all for and stuff like that. But I feel like, so the motivation gets you started, but then the thing that keeps me motivated is just raising the bar constantly. I always want better for what I'm trying to achieve. I want to raise the bar, because also, if you think it for our kids, for the kids' standpoint as well, I want them to see what hard work can truly do.
Yeah.
You can do anything.
Yeah.
And see, once you start as well, and you just keep that ball rolling, it then becomes a habit.
Yeah.
I've got it now where it's I don't require the motivation, because first of all, I know what it's for, right? So I don't need motivated for it at all. I'm there, and I can visualize it, and I see it happening and unfolding. Now it's just a case of going through the process to make it happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's just coming in today and training for 3 hours. Last night, was I thinking about it? Yes. Could I be asked with it? No, because I knew it was going to be a slog. But at the same time, it's now just engraved in me that that's my day-to-day thing. That's what I need to do
in order to achieve
in order to achieve it.
And I think that's the thing we say to clients a lot: trust the process.
Yeah.
Like, if you listen to the information that you've been given and you apply it, we can guarantee that you'll get that result or that goal. Guarantee it. There's no doubt about it. But it's in those moments where you think to yourself, you ask yourself that question: did I do it or did I not? There's no grey area. Did I do it or did I not? No, I didn't. So don't expect.
Yeah, I think,
do you know what I mean?
If I look at my journey then with that, it's I feel like, yeah, I can relate to that, because there's been certain races I've went into where I've thought I've put in the work, but then when you actually look back at it, you're like, nah, you didn't. You didn't put in the work that you need to put in. So it's giving yourself that look in the mirror as well, and saying, did you actually give it your all? Actually being honest with yourself, because I think that's the thing. Some people put a mask on it and say, oh yeah, I did. No, I did do well. I did push it. And that's did you actually though? Did you actually, my last coach, JK, was like that. He was very black and white. Did you do the work? Did you not? Because you know what? And this is what I love about Hyrox and stuff like that. You can't fake it.
Yeah.
You can't fake the hard work. If you've not put the work in, you ain't going to get a fucking good time. It's as simple as that, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
So it's like us in business. If we don't put the work in,
we won't get the return.
We won't get the return. No. We won't see where we wanted to go. So it's one of the ones where, if you're sitting there and you have got a goal and stuff like that, obviously it's easy for Natalie and I, because we've got the goal for the business, we've got the goal for Hyrox and stuff like that. Easy in a way.
Yeah.
To kind of look at that on a data basis type thing. Do you know what I mean? To actually see it there in front of us, are we moving the needle forward? We can see that because we have set targets. So if you are someone who's wanting to achieve a certain goal in fitness or whatever, we spoke of obviously the last podcast about try form.
Yeah.
Like, if you set a target, for example, of a 5K in under 30 minutes, right, and in 12 weeks' time you didn't get that, you didn't fucking put in the work.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to the advice that you're given and you give it everything you can, there's fucking no way. Like I always say, hard work can't be denied.
Yeah.
You can't deny hard work. If you put in the work, it'll happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing. It's like motivation wise and that. Hopefully that covers that. But motivation is a starting process. But see, after that, you need to have the vision locked in your head day in, day out, and know that every single thing that you do and start to build a habit on it, every single thing you do leads towards that. Because then seeing the weeks that you don't want to do it, you know, it's just a simple process of ticking the boxes, so that for me personally, when I stand in that start line, I know the work's been done.
Yeah.
And it's just a confidence thing then.
Yeah.
I just need to deliver.
Yeah. And I'm the same, like, in terms of business, and this is one thing that I like tear myself up for, like, every month. Like, if I look at the data or I look at the numbers and I'm like, things are not changing. And this is the thing as well, like, any goal can be like, in most circumstances, the people that come to us, their goal, they might want to do it in 8 weeks or 12 weeks, but the realistic place to be is actually 6 months, 12 months. And so from my perspective, I am very much that person. I want quick wins. I want that oxytocin, like that hit.
Everybody does though.
But is it not? It's not oxytocin, it's dopamine hit.
Yeah.
I want that dopamine hit right at the very start. But at the same time, like and I look at the numbers and I'm like, they're not moving in the way that we maybe expect or we want them to achieve that long-term goal.
Yeah.
But we have to remember it's a long-term goal. So that's me being in the detail. That's the same with any goal. You could say week to week, my weight's not changing, or this is happening, this is happening. But if you zoom out and you go 6 months, or you look at it from 6 months, or you look at it from 12 months, the trajectory, the general trajectory has been either up or down, depending on whatever your goal is.
There's a film called The Patriot. It's quite an old film, but he tells the boy, aim small, miss small. And that's the thing. If you aim small, you'll not miss. Like, see if you do the habit stacking side of things, you just won't miss. Like, keep ticking them off, be consistent day in, day out, and keep doing it. Like,
Not
even
fancy, that's the thing.
no, I know it's not. There's nothing sexy about there's nothing sexy about like the basics done over time.
Well,
And that's the thing. It's like, so one of the things that I'll refer to as well, like if you look at like an Olympic athlete, right, this is something I've always thought about as well. Like, you look at an Olympic athlete who's the best in the top of their sport, right? They do the same things day in, day out. Why are they the best in the world at doing it? Because they do that exactly. They do the same things day in, day out, and they perfect their craft.
yeah.
The ones that don't make it, the ones that aren't the most successful, is the ones that jump on the bandwagon of something else and go, oh, that looks fancy, I'm going to go and do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the way you've got to start looking at it as well, is like, if you're just consistent over time, it will come to fruition. Like,
Yeah.
whereas if you chase these shiny objects, that's why you have peaks and troughs. You'll notice that if you had somebody who just basically focused on the basics over the course of a year, they would get exactly where they need to be. The other quote that I've heard before that was brilliant is, the fastest way to get your goal is go slow.
Yeah.
It's the fastest way to get there, because the ones that are going fast will go up and they'll see something else, shiny object, and they'll go, oh, I'm going to go to that, and they'll dip down again because it won't work, and then they'll go, oh fuck it, I'm going to go back to the way I started.
Yo-yo diet.
Yeah, like I'm going to go here, and then, you know, I've noticed that I'm starting to make progress in that. Oh, but my mate does this. That was it. Me and I used to do like training. I used to train.
Boredom.
I used to like literally change my training program like every
couple of weeks.
I go out to Natalie, right?
Oh, started a new training
I'm
program.
going to be a bodybuilder, and be like, I go, oh, fuck that, man, it's a pain in the arse, I can't involve them with the reps, too much work. I'm going to do a powerlifter because I only need to do 5 reps. And I'd be like, oh fuck, it's actually lifting heavy weights. Fuck that, I'm going to go back to bodybuilding. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I would change every single time. This is the most consistent I've been. It's the most success I'm getting from it.
Yeah, because you enjoy it. It's like there's so many different things. It's like what I say about nutrition, right? You have to feel satiated, fullness. You have to feel that you are satisfied, that you have consumed things that you enjoy, and then you have to feel fueled. have to feel empowered and ready to attack whatever you're doing next or to do your day.
Yeah, because if it's supposed upon you, you're never going to do it.
So if you restrict any of those elements in life or in nutrition, one element, if you don't feel full, you're going to overeat. If you don't enjoy it, you're going to give up quicker.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel fueled, you're going to eventually feel lethargic, burn out, can't be arsed, and then guess what? You're going to overeat, or you're going to change your kind of coping mechanism.
Yeah.
So like, that's the same in all aspects. It really isn't sexy to just do the same thing every day, but it's the mundane, but it's what's going to get you that result long term. And that's why having people around you when you're feeling shit and they're maybe feeling a good week, having those types of people around you are maybe going to help. Yeah, do you like that? Are maybe going to keep you motivated and
they'll be
they'll be
the reminder that what's the process is working.
I know.
That's the thing. It's like, so yeah, I want you to imagine being an Olympic athlete. The next time,
a 4-year cycle.
Yeah,
Like it's 4 years. It's
the next time you think deviating from the plan or things aren't going the way you wanted to go, you need that wee bit of motivation. Just think like an Olympic athlete. Do the non-sexy stuff and just keep doing it, because if you keep ticking the boxes, you'll get to where you want.
You'll be the one on the starting line.
Yeah, 100%. You'll get there.
The
other ones that keep giving up and then trying something new, it doesn't last. It doesn't last. Do you know what I mean?
The only things that work for you are the things you enjoy. It really is. So yeah, hope that covers it. That was quite a long chat.
Yeah,
I hope that covered that there. And is there anything else we were going to talk about today? Hyrox.
Hyrox wise,
Barcelona.
yeah. So
Strategy, goals, what we're doing.
Strategy and goals. So goals wise for Nat and I, we're in Glasgow done 107. So I'd
We're going to
be
get sub 75.
pushing for a 105.
But I haven't really been training that much, so again, on the back of that full chat there, the strategy's going to have to change, so you'll do everything.
Hopefully the next time we do this podcast, I've got the 105 bank. And for myself, I want the sub 60 before the end of the season. So it's always going to be the goal until I hit. It doesn't matter what other goal I've got. It's always going
to be. That's the goal for Barcelona. That's what we're setting out. Yeah. And we're starting to do that strategy this week.
Yeah.
Next week.
So strategy wise and stuff like that, Nat and I pre-race will always go through the strategy, numbers and data. How fast we need to run, how fast we need to ski, row, etc. We'll break down all the stations so that they go in the actual game plan. And then we just go for there, innit?
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully the next time we come on the podcast, the 2 goals have been hit and we can chat you through, do a run through, we could do a breakthrough of that. Obviously would have done
the plus
something like Glasgow.
Yeah.
Something like Glasgow will give you an insight of how our minds work in terms of data and how we deliver on that. So yeah, I think that one's wrap that one up there.
Yeah. Because wee man's just had.
Normally we do like family and stuff like that as well, but you're getting a wee bit of insight with family when Callan's crying. So, that will wrap up this family. And that I think as well, like with some of the podcasts, it's just like get to the clear standout point, and that was obviously the whole chat about motivation. So that was one of our clients that asked that question, which was really good.
And we've also had questions about menopause, so we'll see if we can get someone in to talk
menopause,
about that.
supplements, etc. So yeah, there's a couple of different routes we're going to go down as well that we've had obviously some feedback on as well. So we'll do some research and stuff like that on that, try and give you the best information possible.
And we've got a few clients that we're going to be interviewing too about their life and their careers and also their goals and their aspirations as well. So that series will be coming soon.
So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed that episode mainly about motivation. Hopefully you've took some golden nuggets away from it. Remember, always think like an Olympic athlete when you're doing these things, and like, share and subscribe again. Yeah.
And thank you so much for listening. It's really appreciated. We love hearing from you as well. So please comment and send us messages and ideas and suggestions, because it's always welcome. Because we love doing this. It's really nice.
Okay.
So even if nobody watches it, or if a lot of people watch it, it doesn't matter, because it's good for us.
We'll see you in another one.
We'll see you in the next one.
Next one.
Thank you.